Hey everyone, Calvin's 32 Special. Welcome back to the channel. Weather's nice. I have some time this afternoon, so I decided to do a couple of reviews. First, since I got them on, I was sent a pair of shooting glasses with changeable lenses. I'll do more detailed reviews on these on the bench, but it just gives me a chance to see how they fit. The biggest thing I wanted to review on today, I was sent some Broadheads for my bow. If you look, back on my channel, actually, link in, will be here on the video. I have a diamond brand bow that I'm going to be shooting these out of. I'll show you the target. As I get some hits. I'm going to test two of these. Are 3-blade with bone breaker tips. These were just recently sent to me. OTW hunting broadhead. OTW is the company. My apologies. That's true. The link will be in the description. These are on Amazon. I also decided I want to try, some broadheads that I've owned for a while and haven't tried yet. These are Magnus Stinger. They're considered a 4-blade because they've got 2 main blades and 2 small feeder blades. Sorry, I'm in the backyard, so please bear with any cars you see in the background. So I'm going to test those. And so we have a point of comparison, I have, some practice tips. These are all 100 grain tips. And that way we can see how far the broadheads penetrate into my high density foam target compared to these, just so we have a point of comparison. Let's take a look at those. Okay, so unfortunately I only had 5 good, arrow shafts. I shoot a 300 spline carbon fiber. I put 2 of the 100 grain practice tips, 2 of the 100 grain OTM 3-blade broadheads with bone breaker tips, and 1 of the Magnus Stingers. Now, before I pulled the other 4 out, because I didn't want to put too many into the target at one time, I did use some electrical tape, around the shaft, right where it, right where it touches the target. So let me get this one out, and then we can, compare the, how much penetration each arrow type gets. Okay, now I brought you guys up nice and close. You can get a better look at these arrow tips. Here is the classic combo practice field tip. If I can get you to focus. There we go. So, no frills, meant for target practice, advertised as being able to use on small game, rabbits and the like. Wouldn't be my choice, but is what it is. Here is the, mind you, these are sharp, so I am being very careful. Here is the 3-blade with, now it's not advertised. Oh, that was a little loose. Probably from pulling it out of the target. Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, it's not advertised as a bone breaker tip with this brand. A lot of your brands do call it a bone breaker. Now, my suggestion if you're using an arrow for hunting, try to hit a soft spot. And here is the Magnus Stinger. And this is why it's called a 4-blade. You got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, these are advertised as flying the most like a practice tip out of all of the hunting broadheads. That's why I picked them up originally. I was going to try deer hunt with them. Haven't yet tried. I mentioned that I put tape on the shaft so we can see the penetration. So let's do a quick measurement. I'm going to start with the field tips, which on a quick eyeball, it would seem the field tip actually had the least amount of penetration of the 3. Now this is non-scientific. That target is just a high density foam meant for target practice. It is not calibrated to be anything like an animal. Let's see what kind of penetration the field tips got. I'm going to call that 9 and 13/16. 10 and an 1/8. Okay. So, you know, call it just rough average, say 10 inches. Go for the 3-blade. I'm sorry if you can't see this very well, but that is 12 and 7/8. Trying to keep you guys in camera, but I'm trying now while I'm doing this. That is 12 and 5/8. So 12 and 7/8. Yeah. So you're talking an average of a call it 12 and 3/4. Mind you, like I said in the video, I only had 5 good shafts. These ones are longer for a different bow I have, so wouldn't be a fair comparison to try to use those. This is 13 and 1/8. Now, small sample sizes, of course, and that being a single. And having a target that's pretty heavily used, so it's already got a lot of holes in it, which could affect it. But shooting them all at the same kind of target, you should be able to give a reasonable comparison between them. I'd say the the field tips don't penetrate as far as these broadheads do, and the 3-blade versus the 2-blade doesn't seem to make much difference. Hey, I might have to get myself, this season I might have to try to get myself an archery tag and see if I can't go take a deer with one of these. All in all, I like the tips. That's for the Muzzies. Sorry, not Muzzies. The Magnus Stinger. Sorry, Muzzy produces a broadhead that looks similar to the OTM. This is a very simple broadhead. And I mentioned that which doesn't seem to be a problem on the Magnus, but with the OTM, I noticed one of them had actually loosened up from pulling it back out of the target. There are some of the really high-end mechanicals that actually have a ball bearing in here, so as your arrow hits your target, the tip stops spinning, but the shaft continues to rotate, helping to drive it deeper, and it's not torquing on your blades, because these are essentially single edge razor, or double edge, I guess, because that's double edge. A double edge razor blade that's being thrown through the air at several hundred feet per second. So they are dangerous. So they're not toys. Please treat them with respect. Other than that, I think they shoot well. It's been 2.5, 3 years probably since I've shot this bow, so I'm a little rusty. So, partially explains my groups. Let's see here, what other excuses can I come up with for poor accuracy? Sun was in my eyes, even though it's overcast. Let's see, it was too hot, it was too cold. Anyhow, guys, I appreciate everyone stopping by. From what I can tell, the OTM Broadheads, they come in a nice little case. That's where I have my spare Magnus and my the two field tips I took out, in the case for the time being. If you're just getting into archery and are wanting to potentially use it to hunt, I don't see why one of these wouldn't work. Mind you, I was only shooting 10 yards. If you're trying to take a deer with your bow, mind your distance, because arrows lose energy extremely fast. I'm also shooting a 60-pound draw weight out of my diamond. So I've got a, I don't know if I mentioned, but I have a fall away rest, and I've got a few things on there that's, set up. But 30 yards, I'd say, probably would be pushing it for trying to use that on an animal. So if you want to hunt, just mind your distance. Ethics. That's all it really comes down to. I appreciate everyone stopping by, and if you have information, or if you have thoughts and comments on, the Broadheads, please let me know. If you have questions, ask. Either I'll try to answer them, or hopefully someone more knowledgeable than me that will stumble upon the video and can answer them. If I did something wrong, please feel free to let me know. Just keep it family friendly, alright? Hope everyone has a wonderful night. Talk to you later. Bye. I'd like to thank everyone for stopping by the channel. If you want to see more of my content, I encourage you to check out my website, calaveras32special.com. Links below in the description. I also encourage you to check out gunchannels.com. Online, two-way community, set up and operated about 5 years ago at this point, by G-Webs, or Mr. Gun Websites. He is a avid activist for our two-way rights, so that's where I encourage you to stop by there, as well as his website, gearwebsites.com, where where a lot of his financing comes from, to help him fight for our rights. I hope you guys are willing to stop by both of those websites. Oh, and before I get on mine, I have my Spreadshirt store link and my Patreon link over there for anyone who is so inclined as to helping out the channel. Much appreciated. And anything I decide any money I get over there, I'll be putting back into the channel, and I'll be giving my patrons a chance to chime in as to what they think I should be using it on. I want to say again, thank you very much for stopping by. Have a wonderful night.